Consider for a moment the last time something truly bothered you. Perhaps it was a careless comment from a colleague, a setback in your personal goals, or an unexpected change in plans. How did you react? Did you feel your heart rate quicken? Your muscles tense? Your mind race with frustrated thoughts? This, my friends, is what it means to be bothered, to allow external circumstances to disrupt our inner peace. But what if I told you that this disruption, this bothered state, is not an inevitability but a choice? What if you could face life's challenges with the serenity of that still pond, acknowledging the ripples but not being defined by them? To understand how this is possible, we must first grasp the nature of being bothered. You see, being bothered is not merely about the external event that triggers us. It's about our interpretation of that event, our attachment to a particular outcome, our expectations of how things should be. In essence, we are bothered not by things, but by our view of things. Think of a time when you were stuck in traffic. Were you bothered? Most likely. But was it the traffic itself that bothered you, or was it your expectation of arriving at a certain time, your attachment to a schedule, your interpretation of the delay as a personal inconvenience? The traffic was merely a neutral event. It was your thoughts about the traffic that created the bothered. This realization is profoundly liberating. If our bothered state stems from our interpretations rather than external events themselves, then we have the power to change it. We can learn to respond rather than react, to choose our mental state rather than have it imposed upon us by circumstances. But how do we make this shift from reacting to responding? It begins with awareness. The next time you feel bothered, pause for a moment. Notice the physical sensations in your body, the thoughts racing through your mind. This simple act of observation creates a space between the triggering event and your response, a space in which you can choose. Ask yourself, is my reaction helping or harming me? Is there another way to view this situation? Often you'll find that your initial reaction is neither helpful nor based on a complete understanding of the situation. Consider the example of receiving criticism. Your initial reaction might be to feel hurt, defensive, maybe even angry. But what if you could pause in that moment and choose to view the criticism as valuable feedback, an opportunity for growth? The criticism itself hasn't changed, but your response to it has. This ability to choose our response is the essence of inner strength and resilience. It's not about suppressing our emotions or pretending that challenging situations don't affect us. Rather, it's about developing the mental fortitude to face life's ups and downs with equanimity. But what about those times when the challenge seems too great, the emotions too overwhelming? This is where the art of detachment comes into play. Detachment, in this context, doesn't mean not caring. It means observing without absorbing, acknowledging without being consumed. Imagine you're watching a movie. You may feel joy, sadness, anger as the plot unfolds, but at some level you know it's just a movie. You're engaged but not entangled. This is the essence of detachment. Being fully present in your life, feeling your emotions, but not being defined or controlled by them. Practice this detachment in your daily life. When you find yourself in a challenging situation, imagine stepping back and observing it as if you were watching a movie. Notice your thoughts, your emotions, the reactions of others, but don't judge them. Simply observe. This practice of detachment allows you to respond to life's challenges with clarity and wisdom, rather than being swept away by reactivity. It gives you the power to choose your actions based on what's truly important, rather than what's merely urgent or emotionally charged. As you cultivate this ability to detach and observe, you'll find yourself naturally reframing negative experiences. Reframing is the art of finding alternative, more empowering interpretations of events. For instance, imagine you've just been passed over for a promotion at work. Your initial interpretation might be one of failure and disappointment. But what if you reframed it? What if you saw it as an opportunity to reflect on your goals, to identify areas for growth, to explore new possibilities? The event itself hasn't changed, but your interpretation of it, and thus your emotional response. This ability to reframe is not about forced positivity or denying the reality of challenging situations. It's about expanding your perspective, about finding the opportunity within the obstacle. Every experience, no matter how challenging, holds within it a seed of growth, of learning, of transformation. Your task is to find that seed, to nurture it, to allow it to blossom into something beautiful and meaningful. As you practice reframing, you'll find that your perspective on life begins to shift. You'll start to see challenges not as burdens to be endured, but as opportunities to be embraced. You'll develop a resilience that allows you to face life's ups and downs with grace and equanimity. But how do we maintain this perspective in the face of life's constant changes and challenges? This is where the practice of emotional regulation comes into play. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing our feelings, but about managing them wisely. Think of your emotions as waves in the ocean. You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf them. This is the essence of emotional regulation, not eliminating emotions, but skillfully navigating them. One powerful tool for emotional regulation is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply the act of being fully present in the moment, aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you're mindful, you're able to observe your emotions as they arise, acknowledge them, but not be controlled by them. For example, let's say you're in a heated argument with a loved one. Instead of getting caught up in the swirl of anger and hurt, take a moment to be mindful. Notice the physical sensations in your body, the thoughts racing through your mind. This simple act of awareness can create a space between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose a more constructive way forward. As you cultivate this practice of mindfulness and emotional regulation, you'll find yourself naturally embodying the principles of Stoicism in your daily life. Now, when I speak of Stoicism, I don't mean a cold, unfeeling demeanor. Rather, I'm referring to the ancient philosophy that teaches us to find inner peace by focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. Consider the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the essence of acting as if nothing bothers you. It's not about denying the reality of challenging situations, but about choosing our response to them. In your daily life, practice asking yourself, is this within my control? If it is, take action. If it's not, practice acceptance. This simple shift in focus can dramatically reduce the amount of mental and emotional energy you waste on things you cannot change. For instance, you can't control whether it rains on your outdoor event, but you can control your preparation and your attitude. You can't control how others behave, but you can control your response to their behavior. By focusing your energy on what you can control, you'll find yourself less bothered by external circumstances and more empowered to shape your own experience of life. But to truly embody the Stoic principle, to act as if nothing bothers you, requires a deep level of self-awareness. You must become intimately familiar with your own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. You must learn to observe yourself with the detached curiosity of a scientist studying a fascinating specimen. Start by paying attention to your triggers. What situations, people, or events tend to bother you the most? When you feel bothered, what physical sensations arise in your body? What thoughts run through your mind? By developing this self-awareness, you'll be better equipped to catch yourself in the moment of being bothered and choose a different response. Moreover, self-awareness allows you to understand the underlying needs and values that drive your reactions. Often, when we're bothered by something, it's because it's touching on a deep-seated need or violating an important value. By understanding these underlying factors, you can address the root cause of your bothered state, rather than just managing the symptoms. For example, if you find yourself consistently bothered by a colleague's behavior, dig deeper. Is it really about their actions, or is it touching on your need for respect, recognition, or fairness? Once you understand the underlying need, you can find more constructive ways to address it. Now, as we cultivate this ability to remain unbothered, it's crucial that we don't lose our capacity for empathy and compassion. The goal is not to become cold or indifferent to the world around us, but to find a balance between emotional stability and genuine connection with others. Think of it this way. When you're on an airplane, the safety instructions always tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. In the same way, by maintaining your own emotional equilibrium, you're better equipped to offer genuine support and empathy to those around you. When you're not easily bothered, you can listen more deeply to others, understand their perspectives more clearly, and respond more effectively to their needs. You become a steady presence in the lives of those around you, a rock in the stormy seas of life. Moreover, by modeling this ability to remain unruffled in the face of life's challenges, you inspire others to do the same. Your calm presence becomes a beacon of hope, showing others that it's possible to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and equanimity. But what about those times when it's not external circumstances that bother us, but our own thoughts and fears? One of the most common sources of distress is the fear of judgment from others. We worry about what people think of us, whether we're measuring up to their expectations, to act as if nothing bothers you requires overcoming this fear of judgment. And the key to this lies in understanding a simple truth. What others think of you is none of your business. You have no control over the opinions of others, and those opinions say more about them than they do about you. Has worrying about others' judgments ever actually improved your life? Has it made you happier, more successful, more fulfilled? Likely not. In fact, this preoccupation with others' opinions often holds us back from being our authentic selves and pursuing our true passions. Instead of worrying about what others think, focus on living according to your own values and standards. Be true to yourself. Do what you believe is right, regardless of others' opinions. When you live this way, you'll find a deep sense of peace and satisfaction that no external validation can provide. Remember, you can't control what others think or say about you, but you can control how you respond to it. Choose to let go of the need for approval. Choose to define your own worth, rather than allowing others to define it for you. And just to a fundamental truth, in every moment, we have the power of choice. We can't always choose our circumstances, but we can always choose our response to those circumstances. This power of choice is what allows us to act as if nothing bothers us, even in the face of significant challenges. When faced with a difficult situation, pause and remind yourself, I have a choice in how I respond to this. This simple reminder can be incredibly empowering. It shifts you from a position of victimhood to one of agency. And, for instance, if someone criticizes you unfairly, you have a choice. You can choose to be offended and defensive, or you can choose to remain calm and consider whether there's any truth in their words that you can learn from. If you face a setback in your goals, you can choose to be discouraged, or you can choose to see it as an opportunity to reassess and improve your approach. By consciously exercising this power of choice, You'll find yourself less at the mercy of external circumstances and more in control of your own emotional state. You'll be able to maintain your composure and act as if nothing bothers you, not because you're indifferent, but because you're choosing your response wisely. As we conclude our exploration of this topic, I want to emphasize that acting as if nothing bothers you is not about suppressing your emotions or denying the reality of challenging situations. It's about developing the inner strength and wisdom to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and equanimity. It's about understanding that your peace of mind is too valuable to be given away to every passing circumstance or careless word. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose your response to life, rather than being at the mercy of your reflexive reactions. Imagine for a moment how your life would be different if you could maintain your composure in the face of any challenge. How would it change your relationships, your work, your sense of self? How much more energy would you have to devote to the things that truly matter to you, rather than wasting it on being bothered by things you can't control? This is the promise of learning to act as if nothing bothers you. It's not about becoming cold or unfeeling, but about becoming so grounded in your own inner peace that external circumstances can't easily shake you. It's about developing a resilience that allows you to bounce back quickly from setbacks, wisdom that helps you see the opportunity in every challenge, and a serenity that radiates out to positively impact those around you. So, my friends, I challenge you to begin this practice in your own lives. Start small. The next time something bothers you, pause. Take a deep breath. Remember that you have a choice in how you respond. Choose peace. Choose equanimity. Choose to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you're indifferent, but because you're strong enough to remain calm in the face of life's storms. And as you practice this day by day, moment by moment, you'll find yourself transforming. You'll become like that still pond, reflecting the beauty of the world around you, unruffled by the winds of circumstance. You'll discover a deep well of inner peace that nothing external can disturb. Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you falter, when you find yourself bothered despite your best intentions. That's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Each moment is a new opportunity to choose your response, to act as if nothing bothers you. Why do I react so strongly to certain situations? What past experiences might be influencing my current emotional responses? Are my emotional reactions helping me reach my goals, or are they holding me back? For instance, you might realize that your tendency to avoid conflict stems from childhood experiences of heated arguments in your family. Or you might recognize that your drive for perfectionism, while often productive, sometimes leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety. These insights don't immediately change your emotional responses, but they give you the awareness to start making different choices. As you engage in this self-reflection, you'll likely encounter some uncomfortable truths. You might realize that some of your emotional habits are not serving you well. This is where inner strength and resilience come into play. Inner strength isn't about suppressing your emotions or putting on a brave face. It's about having the courage to face your feelings honestly, to acknowledge them without being controlled by them. It's about being willing to sit with discomfort, to feel the fear and do what needs to be done anyway. Resilience, on the other hand, is the ability to bounce back from emotional setbacks. It's like having a well-built ship that can weather storms and come out intact on the other side. You build resilience by facing challenges, learning from them, and continuing to move forward despite setbacks. For example, imagine you've just faced a significant rejection. Perhaps a job application you were excited about, or a romantic interest who didn't reciprocate your feelings. Your immediate emotional response might be one of disappointment, sadness, maybe even anger or self-doubt. These feelings are natural and valid. Inner strength allows you to acknowledge these feelings without being overwhelmed by them. Resilience helps you to learn from the experience, to adjust your approach if necessary, and to try again rather than giving up. Now, as we learn to manage our own emotions more effectively, it's crucial that we don't lose sight of the importance of empathy. Emotional control doesn't mean becoming cold or unfeeling. Rather, it's about finding a balance between understanding others' emotions and maintaining our own emotional equilibrium. Think of empathy as the ability to tune into the emotional frequencies of those around you. It allows you to sense the undercurrents of feelings in a conversation, to understand the emotional weather of a room. This awareness is invaluable in navigating social situations, in building strong relationships, and in leading others effectively. However, empathy without emotional control can lead to becoming overwhelmed by others' feelings, to losing your own emotional bearings. It's like a ship that's so focused on the movements of other vessels that it loses sight of its own course. The key is to cultivate what we might call grounded empathy, the ability to understand and connect with others' emotions while maintaining your own emotional center. This allows you to be supportive and understanding without being swept away by every emotional current. For instance, imagine a friend comes to you in distress, pouring out their worries and fears. Empathy allows you to truly listen, to understand their emotional state. But emotional control helps you to offer support without becoming anxious yourself, to provide a steady presence rather than being pulled into their emotional turbulence. As we navigate these emotional waters, it's crucial to remember that we always have a choice in how we respond to our feelings. This power of choice is perhaps our most valuable tool in not letting our emotions take over. You see, between the stimulus of an event and our response to it, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our reaction. Our feelings may arise automatically, but our actions in response to those feelings are a choice. For example, when someone cuts you off in traffic, the feeling of anger may arise instantly, but you have a choice in how you respond to that anger. Will you let it take over, leading you to honk your horn or make aggressive gestures? Or will you take a deep breath, remind yourself that the other driver's actions likely weren't personal, and choose to let it go? This power of choice extends to all areas of our emotional life. When you feel the urge to snap at a loved one, you can choose to pause and respond more kindly instead. When you feel afraid to take on a new challenge, you can acknowledge the fear and choose to act courageously anyway. Exercising this power of choice consistently requires practice. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Start with small, everyday situations. Each time you consciously choose your response rather than reacting automatically. You're strengthening your ability to navigate your emotions skillfully. Now, let's discuss some practical strategies for emotional regulation. These are like the tools and techniques a skilled sailor uses to navigate through various weather conditions. One powerful technique is reframing. This involves consciously changing your perspective on a situation. For instance, instead of seeing a setback as a failure, you might reframe it as a learning opportunity. This doesn't change the external circumstances, but it can dramatically alter your emotional response. Another useful strategy is the practice of labeling your emotions. Simply putting a name to what you're feeling. I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling anxious, can help to reduce the intensity of the emotion. It's like shining a light on a shadow. Once you clearly see what you're dealing with, it often becomes less overwhelming. Deep breathing is another simple yet effective tool. When you're in the grip of a strong emotion, your breathing often becomes shallow and rapid. By consciously slowing and deepening your breath, you can activate your body's relaxation response, helping to calm both your body and mind. You might also find it helpful to practice emotional distancing. This involves mentally stepping back from your emotions and observing them as if from a distance. You might ask yourself, what would this situation look like to an outsider? Or how will I feel about this a week from now? This can help you gain perspective and respond more objectively. Remember, the goal of these strategies isn't to eliminate your emotions. Emotions are a vital part of the human experience. The aim is to manage them effectively, to prevent them from hijacking your thoughts and actions. As we work on managing our emotions, it's important to address the fear of negative emotions. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that certain feelings, anger, sadness, fear, are bad or wrong. As a result, we try to suppress or avoid these emotions, which often only makes them more powerful. While emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, have a purpose. Anger can motivate us to address injustice. Sadness can help us process loss and connect with others. Fear can alert us to potential dangers. The key is learning to experience these emotions without being controlled by them. It's about acknowledging their presence, understanding their message, but not letting them dictate your actions. For instance, if you feel angry about a situation at work, don't try to pretend the anger doesn't exist. Acknowledge it. I'm feeling angry right now. Then try to understand what this anger is telling you. Is there a boundary that's been crossed? A value that's been violated? Once you understand the message, you can choose how to address the situation constructively rather than lashing out in anger. As we conclude our discussion, I want to emphasize that mastering your emotions is not about becoming an unfeeling automaton. It's about developing the wisdom to navigate your emotional seas skillfully, to harness the power of your feelings without being capsized by them. Imagine once again that you are the captain of your ship. The winds of emotion still blow, the waves of feeling still rise and fall. But now you stand confidently at the helm. You read the emotional weather, you adjust your sails, you steer your course with purpose. You understand that your feelings are not commands to be obeyed, but valuable information to be considered. You know that you are not at the mercy of your emotions, but have the power to choose your responses. You recognize that true strength lies not in the absence of feelings, but in the ability to feel deeply while still maintaining your course. This, my friends, is the art of not letting your feelings take over. It's a lifelong practice, a continuous journey of self-discovery and growth. There will be storms and calm seas, moments of struggle and moments of triumph. But with each challenge you face, with each emotion you navigate skillfully, you become a more capable captain of your own life. Pay attention to your emotions, understand them, learn from them, but don't let them take the helm. You are the captain of your ship, the master of your fate. Navigate wisely, sail boldly, and may your journey be rich with meaning and purpose. Thank you, my friends. May you find strength in the storms and joy in the journey as you learn to master the seas of your emotions. Now, you might be wondering what's wrong with that. Shouldn't we let our feelings guide us? And indeed, there's a certain romance to the idea of being led by our hearts, of following our passions wherever they may take us. Would you entrust the navigation of your ship to a crew that changes its mind with every shifting wind? Would you let the fear of a storm drive you off course? Or the excitement of a sunny day lure you into treacherous waters? You see, our feelings are powerful forces. They color our world, inspire our greatest works of art, and connect us to one another in profound ways. but they are also fickle, often irrational, and when left unchecked can lead us far astray from our true course. Consider for a moment the last time you let your feelings take over. Perhaps it was a burst of anger that led you to say things you later regretted. Or maybe it was a moment of fear that held you back from seizing a golden opportunity. In that moment, did you feel in control, or did you feel as though you were being tossed about by emotional waves, your rational mind merely a passenger along for the ride? This, my friends, is the crux of our discussion today. How do we navigate the stormy seas of our emotions without letting them capsize our ship? How do we harness the power of our feelings without becoming enslaved by them? To answer these questions, we must first understand the nature of our feelings. You see, emotions are not facts. They're not infallible guides to truth or right action. Rather, they are responses, complex chemical and neurological reactions to our perceptions of the world around us. Think of it this way. Imagine you're walking in a forest and you see a long cylindrical shape on the ground. In an instant, your body floods with fear. A snake. Your heart races, your palms sweat, you're ready to flee. But upon closer inspection, you realize it's merely a stick. The fear subsides, replaced perhaps by relief or even amusement at your mistake. What changed? Not the object itself, but your perception of it.